Boy, have we got an exciting one for you today. I've been sent some irons. These are the Hogan M50-01, and they could quite possibly be the best irons I've seen in a long, long time. In today's video, we're going to do a full review. Are these as good as they look? That's the big question. Let's do it. Is this the most satisfying bit of having new irons? Oh, look at them. Right, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jack, this is Jack Lee Golf. We're down here at the Club Indoor Golf Centre in Doncaster, the finest golfing indoor establishment in all of Thurnsker. Like I said, in today's video, we're looking at the very beautiful Hogan M50-01 irons. Before we start this video, I want to say a big thank you to Peyton at Hogan for sending me these clubs to review. A big question for me is, are these good enough to go with my golf bag? Because the way that they're looking at the moment could be a serious contender. So before we start hitting some shots, I'm going to hit some 5 irons, 7 irons and 9 irons just to collect some data, just to see what's going off. We're going to have a look at the specifications and the features of these beautiful looking golf clubs. I don't think I can say it enough in today's video. These look mint. Right, so first and foremost, let's see what Hogan are saying about these irons. I'm going to put all this information there so you can see it. So the first screen that we come to is the specs part. So, you know, I've got these clubs in right-handed 40 pitching wedge. I've got 7 clubs. Got them in a dynamic gold S300 flex shaft, which is very similar to ones that I'm using at the moment. And I've also got the standard Golf Pride Tour Velvets on. So, forged player's distance. For golfers that want impressive distance, penetrating ball flight and workability to craft shots, this 1020C one-piece forged iron offers that buttery feel that only a pure forging can offer. I've hit about 10 shots with these before I jump straight into this review video. They do feel absolutely incredible. Timeless design. In all our ranges, we try to honour Mr. Hogan's belief that a club is like a fine piece of jewellery. Our M50-01 offers a compact head with precision milling and a clean, thin top line. The top line is thin. To say that these aren't the smallest iron head, or not meant to be the smallest iron head, should I say. They have got still quite a thin top line, beautiful looking golf clubs. Not a counter for every time I say that in this video. Precision milling. So not only have we got precision milling, we've got milling on the back of the club head, which is not a particularly common thing that you see in irons nowadays. V-sole, this caught my eye. No golfer is perfect, so at some point you're going to have to negotiate shots from the rough, as I do, more frequently than I'd like. Or worse. Yeah. And that's where a friendly sole will help your club glide easier through that turf so you can make more solid contact with the ball. The sole on these golf clubs remind me to that of the Strixon ZX7s, which are some of the best, or is one of the best sole designs that I've ever seen on an iron, so this is going to be interesting. Don't get to utilise it much indoors because we're just hitting off a mat. I think we may see more evidence of that outdoors, but super exciting. Our irons feature our famous V-sole, which sports a high bounce leading edge and soft lower bounce trailing edge. Regardless of the length or thickness of grass, this V-shaped sole cuts right through as if you were hitting from the heart of the fairway. It's simply the most versatile sole in golf, shaped to be forgiving and prevent digging. Sometimes I can get a little bit steep with my angle of attack, so it's going to be cool to see if these can help me out with that. Customise it. Our M50-01 irons, just like all our clubs, are hand-built in our club building workshop in the USA. Please allow 5 to 10 working days for assembly of your new clubs. A choice of premium components are included as our stock offerings, as well as a full custom-built service offering wider selection of shafts and grips, as well as lie, loft and length adjustments. Since ordering my irons through Peyton at Hogan, these must have turned up in 6 days. So extremely quick turnaround in that sense. I know that specs-wise I am pretty middle of the road with that kind of stuff, but they turned up incredibly fast, so I was super impressed with that. And that leads me nicely onto the specs of these golf clubs. So, compared to my current TaylorMade MC and MB combo set, the lofts are a little bit stronger. We're looking around about the 31 degree mark for the 7 iron, whereas mine is 34. Pitching wedge is 44, my current one's 45, that's not a million miles away. Rest of the set, we're kind of seeing 3 to 4 degree increment. Lie angle, I have got these 1 degree upright, that's my standard spec. I believe that these are ½ an inch longer as well, so as I'm messing around with something in my posture at the moment, trying to stand a little bit taller, I've just gone a little bit longer to help me with that. One thing you see on this spec sheet that you don't often see is the trailing bounce number. So you can see that progressively increases as we go lower down the clubs. And we've also got a number for offset. I'm going to talk about offset a little bit later. Right, so we're on Foresight FSX Pro. We are using a brand new Titleist Pro V1 golf ball, the same golf balls that I use. I'm going to start off with a 9-iron. Like I said, I'm going to hit 9, then 7, then 5. Then we'll collect the data and I'll show you if these are the real deal or not. Let's do it. I've got a flag set about 156 yards away, so let's see how close we can get to that. I'll probably aim for about 5 or 6 shots of each club. That's a good one. That could be close. Oh, I think like the flag. Wouldn't mind a few of them on course. That's just pushed. Only a touch though. Feel-wise, they do feel as good as what Ben Hogan claim. I think with them being the 1020C forging, they feel incredibly soft. Another good one. Now, offset-wise, if there was one tiny criticism I had of these irons, and it is only due to the nature of them, on the shorter irons, there's probably just a little bit too much offset, and I'll put some B-roll in so you can see that. Right, so this is what I'm saying about the offset, the progressive offset of these irons. So with the 4-iron far right, you'll notice not much offset, pretty sleek-looking club. Then we go to a 7, and it's evident that the leading edge is a little bit more behind that hosel, and then we go to a wedge, it's even more pronounced. So this may put off your slightly better player, it may put off the golfer that turns the ball a little bit too much from right to left, and there is definitely a difference the more in loft that we go. Me currently playing TaylorMade MBs, I see minimal to no offset, so going towards something that is probably a little bit more forgiving, which is something that I'm interested in doing. That's why I really like the look of these. The only thing that could potentially put me off is the offset. My bad shot as well being one that travels too far to the left, the more offset on the club, the more that face can start closing a little bit more and you might get a couple turning over. But so far, so good. We've not seen any, maybe apart from that first one, travel a tiny bit too far left, but so far so good. So yeah, if there was only one criticism I had of these clubs, and this is only a personal preference thing, a lot of golfers out there might like the look of a bit more offset. There's just a little bit too much in the short irons. When you get to the longer ones, the offset decreases and they look, you know, a little bit, I would say, trickier to hit. Right, next up we've got the 7-iron. I've got a flag set out there, 275 yards, so let's see how we get on. Already from 7 to 9, there is a little bit less offset. That is another good shot. You guys won't be able to see this, but on that shot there was a 175.8 yard carry. So from my MCs and MBs to these, I am noticing, I'll tell you about this in a bit more depth later, slight increase in launch angle and a little bit more distance. But you know, as I'm getting older, a little bit more distance isn't a bad thing. It's another good one. That feel is as good as I felt this year. Me personally, I have had a chance to go with some Titleist T100s and T150s. They felt amazing. These are right up there. Right, that were a bit necky. That's going to be interesting. That were definitely more in the heel, and we've only seen a drop off of 7 yard then. It's gone from 175 to 168. And I don't want to say that we're close to an unspeakable, but it was a bit closer than I would have liked. That's a solidly struck golf shot, 174.3. Early doors, the front and back dispersion's unbelievable. We're not getting any jumpers, we're not getting any excessive spinners. Another well-struck shot, 174.8. I feel like I could do that all day with these. That is super impressive. Right, let's get a little bit tricky now. Let's go to a 5-iron. Let's see what's happening there. Right, and last but not least, the 5-iron. So I'm going to move this green to about 210 yard. Let's see if we can get it all the way back there. Should be able to with a couple of good strikes. Touch thin, but pretty good. 208 carry on that one. That were a better struck shot. I think it's flown a touch shorter, but it's still really good. These are a bit nice. Right, that were a touch heavy. So that's only carried 196 and just missed the target to the left. That were interesting. One thing that I don't really get with my MCs and MBs at the minute is any forgiveness on off-centre strike. So if my strike is to move a little bit high in the face like that last one did, and it only goes to there, that's pretty good. Start line were a bit further to the right that time. Carry were good. Just pushed it. One more. And then we'll have a look at the figures. Good strike. Just turning a bit. 203.5 carry. Right, that was really good. Let's have a look at those all-important figures. Right, I need to be excused. When I first set the test up, I got the 9 and the 5 iron the wrong way around. Now, we're going to start with a 9, but then I realised I'm getting old and I don't want to be hitting a 5 iron straight away. So the 5 iron is the 9 iron, the 9 iron is the 5 iron. You get the score. Let's start with 9 iron first. Says it's a 5. So we had ball speeds of 112.7. We had a launch angle of 22.1. Fraction higher than what I'm used to seeing in my TaylorMade MBs. We had a spin axis tilt of a little bit to the left. That is similar theme throughout. Similar theme through all three. So we've got -6, -5, -3. They're all curving from right to left. Spin rate, 7,459. Perhaps a little bit low. One video that I'm definitely going to do soon is put them directly against my MBs and MCs to see what the real differences are. We've got a spin rate of 7,459. We have a total carry of 153. That's definitely a few yards further than what I see normally with my TaylorMade MB 9 iron. And we have offline of plus 1.9 on those 5 shots, so just a fraction to the right. Next, we have got the 7 iron, so we have ball speeds of 121.7, launch angle of 18 degrees. Again, spin axis of a little bit to the left, so it's going to that's just me drawing it. That's my natural shot shape. Spins of 6,219, which is more than appropriate, and a carry again of 173.6. So I would expect my TaylorMade MB 7 iron to carry 170. This is a little bit further. Offlineness on this one, plus 6.6, so just a fraction to the right. Few starting too far right and not quite drawing back. And then when it comes to the 5 iron, ball speeds of 132.3, launch angle of 14.7, spin axis tilt again, 6.6 to the left. Spin rate's 4,624. That's pretty good for a 5 iron. Average carry of bang on 200. If I experienced any slight misstrikes with my TaylorMade MC 5 iron, that drops considerably. There were a couple of misstrikes in there with the Ben Hogans due to the little bit more forgiveness, and it stayed up at 200, so that's super cool. Offlineness, pardon me, on average 2.5. So now let's have a look into a bit more detail. Let's go 9 iron first, and the most remarkable thing about these clubs was the consistency. Especially from a distance point of view. We'll look at that a touch later on. So ball speeds, we range from 115 to 111, very tight. Launch angles, the highest we had was 23, the lowest we had was 21. Spin axis tilt, very much of a muchness, apart from that first one that just drew a bit too much. Spin rates, this is almost incredible. So we had a high spin of 7,642. We only had a low spin of 7,242. In that, I know it were a short set of data, but to only manipulate spin by 400 revs, that's me doing my job partly, but that is some consistency with those irons. And then that translates to a lowest carry of 151.4 and a highest carry of 156.1. If I know that I'm only ever going to miss it front and back in this range, I've got a lot of confidence that I can control the distance of these golf clubs. It's a very similar story when we come to look at the 7 iron. Now, I have kept this shot in here. This was the misstrike where I caught it a little bit more heel side. So average ball speeds around about 122.5 miles an hour. It dropped down to 118 when I nearly hit the ozzle. Launch angles, very much of a muchness, 18, but we had 17.5 going up to 18.7. So small window again. Spin axes, pretty similar. Spin rates, lowest spin being 6,000, highest spin being 6,474. Again, super tight, those spin rates. And then we look at distance. So you will see for the most part, 1758, 1752, 1743, 1748. I am hitting this 175 yards. On the misstrike, which was particularly poor, I only lost 7 yards. That's the Ben Hogan coming into their own when it comes to forgiveness. Offline wise, we saw 6.6 to the right. And then last but not least, 5 iron. So a club, we're getting into the realm of this is a little bit harder to control. We saw average ball speed 132. The lowest was 130. The highest was 133.9. Again, incredibly tight, just coming off the face at the same speed every time. Launch angles, we had a high of 15.5. Unless that's 16.7, which it might be, and a low of 13.6, all spinning to the left. Spin rates, lowest being 4,349, highest being 5,000. Again, super, super tight. From front and back dispersions, these are incredibly impressive. I kind of know that if I'm shooting for 200 yards, as shown with these distances, the shortest it's going to go is 195.5, the furthest it's going to go is 203.5. From that distance on a golf course, to have that confidence that that is how far this is going to go if I primarily do my job, that is super confidence inspiring. Let's have a look at some dispersions. So a lot of them, bar the 7.9, I think there were just a couple that are pushed. This is the centre line. There's only a 5-yard discrepancy between line to line. So 9.9 pretty much on it. One little pull, couple of pushes, but centering around the middle. 7.9 just a little bit more pushed, trying to draw it, and it weren't quite drawing back. 5-iron, as you'd expect, as you go to a less lofted club, that dispersion circle is going to spread a little bit more. Felt like a weather lady then. Scorchio. But yeah, I mean, look at the front and back dispersion from the shortest shot to the longest shot with all them. They're absolutely bang on. Right then, so final verdict. Ben Hogan M50-01 irons, are they going in my bag? Yes, they are. Because of the increased forgiveness that I feel I've got over these versus my MC and MBs, they are going in the bag. We've noticed that front and back dispersion is incredible. Ball speeds are incredibly consistent. Spin rates are incredibly consistent. I'm definitely going to do a straight comparison video of my new irons versus my old irons, so we'll see just what the differences are. These launch a fraction higher, they go a little bit further than what I'm seeing at the moment. When it comes to that video, I think one thing that we're going to notice is that because these launch angles are increased, despite maybe not spinning as much as what they do, I've still got the stopping power through height of shot. So these tick every box. I love the V-sole design. I love the way they feel. I love the way they look. S300 as a shaft is very similar to what I've got in at the moment, and I have used these before, so it felt very easy for me to just pick them up and use them. Ben Hogan M50-1, I am super, super impressed. If there are any videos you'd like to see me do with the new Ben Hogan M50-01 irons, please leave them in the comments below, such as heading onto course, maybe doing a hole-in-one challenge in here, all that kind of stuff. Apart from that, stay tuned to loads more exciting content we've got coming soon. I've got some very exciting videos stacked up, and I'm very excited to show you. Apart from that, I'll catch you in the next one. See you in a bit.